Okay. So, so the ArcGIS interface is just like every other software. It's just like every other software. And it has its own menu, its own functions and other things. Just like your MS Word, your your PowerPoint, your CorelDRAW, and rest of them. So looking at the interface now, you will see um, some buttons and functions. You will see like file, you will see like edit, you will see view, you will see bookmark, you will see insert, selection, geoprocessing, customize, Windows, and help. I'm very sure that your GIS software might not look like mine, but here are a few options of things to do to make it look like mine before um, we proceed. Now, if you come to the top, close to that help, just a blank space, you right click there, you will see a list of tools which I've activated. You will see like 3D analyst, animation, ArcSWAT. ArcSWAT is a tool for modeling of drainages, and it's called soil water assessment test tool or tool, which used to look at soil water to model drainage runoffs and other things that are related to hydrology. It's a plugin you download separately. Then we have the Kogo, we have the draw. If I uncheck this draw now, you see that the one at the bottom of my GIS software is off. If I check draw again, you see the draw will appear. You see the drawing tool here. You have the arrow and other things here, which we are going to explain their functions. So we also have the editor. Editor is the primary tool which we use in GIS. If I uncheck editor, editor is gone from here. It is from with editor tool that we do our drawing of map, our modification, our editing, and everything that we have to do with our map. Then we also have our georeferencing. We have our georeferencing. Georeferencing is a tool that we use to georeference or to make reference or tie imagery to or map to reference. So what does we do in georeferencing? Georeferencing is more like the act of trying to determine or to place a map where it actually belongs. Because the interface of the GIS environment contains all the coordinate system in the world, which is the globe, from US to UK to China to Asia. All of them are contained here. So whenever you import a map into your system, it is through georeferencing that you will be able to put them where they belong. Because if not, you are just drawing a diagram. But when you georeference them, you are trying to tell the system that this particular map, this is the location. So whatever you draw down on the map after georeferencing becomes drawn to precision. And if you run analysis or take measurement, it will give you the accurate measurement. So georeferencing is an important tool, which is this tool. So for instance, if I remove georeferencing, for instance, and I add it new as a fresh person who is using GIS for the first time, it's going to come in like this. It's not left for me to click, hold, and drag it to position it where I want it to be static. That is how I was able to line them up in this particular format. We also have other ones like Passo. Passo is for people who are doing surveying, who want to map out land. We have GPS, which is if you have a handheld GPS device and you want to bring information into the GIS environment, you need the GPS tool so that you can be able to import. If I uncheck it, it's going to go somewhere around here. If I right click and add GPS again, it's going to come back. So from here, you can be able to import things from your GIS and also manage your GIS, or even export a map into your GIS device, into your GPS device. We have graphics, which is where you see this is the graphics where you see your send behind, your align. If I click it, you see your merge, your align center, your align left, your align right. Everything is within your graphics management tool. I also have the image classification, which is used for classifying Landsat imagery so that you can be able to get the land use classification, and or you want to get the normalized differential vegetation index, which is the NDVI, or to look at the vegetation class of the environment, or you want to look at land surface temperature, or you want to just basically want to classify an imagery, you use your image classification. Then we have the layout. Layout is where you decide. If I uncheck layout now, layout will go. Layout is here. Layout is the function that you use to edit your map. If I go to my layout view now, which is two views here, and I click on layout, this is where it becomes active. This is where you decide to zoom in as a page, or zoom out as a page, or move the page at once, or even see the whole entire page by clicking here, get to them, or 1:1 by 1:1 ratio, which is a square ratio, or even fix zoom from the system where you click here. Instead of clicking here and moving down, you can decide to use this to do the same thing. You have here, which takes you back to the last zoom or the series of work, just like it's like Control Z and undo and redo that you find in your MS Word. This one is particular for this layout side for the page. Maybe you have zoomed in too much and you want to see the entire thing. This is where you use to bring them back so that it comes back to the normal ratio or where you are working. So that is the function of that. Then we also have the Passo editor for surveying, which I've mentioned. We have the snapping tool. Snapping tool is very important because when you are drawing a line, you need them to overlap on each other. And that is the work of the snapping tool. So what the snapping tool does is like it magnets the line to the nodes. We are going to practicalize it so you can see. The snapping tool magnets the line. Let me show you an example. For instance, this is a map of Kogi East Senatorial Region. This is a map of Kogi East Senatorial Region. If I'm trying to draw a line or a river here, and I want to add a river here, let me show you for instance. Once the snapping tool is on, which is here, if I move, you see the way it's magneting it. So it will help me to be able to align them. If I start drawing without magneting it, without snapping tool, let me remove the snapping tool. If I start drawing without snapping tool, I might think I'm drawing on top of the line. But when I zoom in properly, I might see that there's a gap. Just like you can see here, there's a gap between what I've drawn and what is the actual boundary. So, but when I put on the snapping tool here on, and I move here, the system automatically gives me magnets them. You see, this one is a vertex, while this one is an edge. So you target the vertex, and if I zoom in, you see that the lines are overlapping. They're overlapping. You cannot see any space in between them. So let me close this. So that is it. So we also have other tools like spatial analysis tool that you can use to do some basic spatial analysis. We have the standard toolbar, and we have tools. We have a host of other tools here which you can be able to use, but these are the basic ones which we use, from time to time. Those are the basic ones. So coming to here, you see your file. Under your file, you can find your new. If you want to create a new document, you find your open. If you are looking to open a new document, a saved document on your system, you find a save if you want to save a work in progress. You find save as if you are trying to save it as a new document separately, just like the way it is in your MS Word. You find save a copy, which is like trying to duplicate a project. But for save a copy means I'm trying to have a backup so that what I'm working here can appear here at the same time, or can save here at the same time. We have share, which you can share to people as a map package. Map package is after putting your map together, if you create a map package, because it's one single file that you can be able to share to people. The benefit of using a map package is the map package uses smaller memory, and at the same time, you're not going to lose anything within your map. Then we also have your add, where you can add whether it's your image, whether it's your existing picture, whether it's a point, whether it's an Excel sheet containing your data, everything you can do from add. When we get to add, we can see the way we can be able to use add. We can understand it better. You see the way we use add here. We have page and print setup. If you want to set your page, like this, your layout. We are currently on an A4 portrait. If I go to print, page and print setout, I can decide to make them landscape. I can decide to make them change the size to another size, maybe A4, A3, or whatever, and save. It turns to that particular dimension. At the same time, you can decide to print if you want to print directly from here. That is one of the work of page and print setup. Have preview, print preview. If you want to see what the map will look like when you want to print it, you can use your print preview. My system is hanging. What could be this problem? Yeah. Okay, sorry. It's off now. So we have the exports, the print, where you want to print. You have the exports. If you want to export your map as an image or a JPEG, this is where you select print and then choose where you want to. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so I think it was the network. So we have an export, which you can use to export your map either as a JPEG or as a PDF or whatever format you choose. That's for the export when you're done with your map. Then we'll have your analyze, which you use to look at your map to see the various things that probably does not align. In case you want to export as a map package, you want to take it to map package. You can see other things. Raster does not have pyramid. It will tell you the problems. It will analyze your data and tell you what is wrong with some of your data, right? So for this one, you can see layer data source has a different projection. We understand is acceptable. So we have map properties where you can be able to see the properties of what you have done. You can save or summarize your map, especially when you want to move it to a map package. That is it. So we have your edits, where you see your undo, your redo, your cut, your copy, your paste, and paste special. Even your copy to clipboard, all of them are here. And also select all elements to select everything. You can see everything is selected. We have the view, where you can decide to go to whether you want to go to the data view, which is where you draw the map, or you're going to go to a layout view, which is where we package the map for export. The button is also down here. You can see the button down here. Let me indicate the button here. This one is the data view, while this one is the layout view. So they are there, but if you are looking for them and you can't find them, you can go through your view to see them. You have your graphs when you want to make your graphs. You have your report if you want to create a report from your map. You have this scroll bar, which is adding those scroll bars to your file, to your working environment. You can see them here. We have your status bar. We have your ruler. You have your guides. You have your grid. If you want to add a grid to be able to align things properly without having, maybe you want to put them in a straight line. You want a grid to guide you on how to do it. You have your data frame properties, which is where you configure your environment, whether you want to use a particular coordinate system, whether it's a projected coordinate system or a geographic coordinate system. Now, what is geographic coordinate system? What is a projected coordinate system? Geographic coordinate system are those coordinate systems that you see on a globe, which is your longitude, latitude, degree, minutes, and seconds. When you see this degree, 6 degrees, 32 minutes, 2 seconds, just like you see on this map, that geographic coordinate system. The projected coordinate system is now when you take what you have on the globe and now project it on a flat surface so that you can be able to take measurements. Now, how does this two differ? If you are looking at a map or just a normal, representation, geographic coordinate system is an option. You can use them. It's okay to use them to do a basic mapping and other things, just like the way you see in your GPS and some of other devices you use. But if you are looking to put your map or use your map to do measurement, to measure distance from one point to the other, or to take an area of a place accurately in a square meter or in meter or in feet or in square feet or in miles or whatever, then you are going to use the projected coordinate system. Why do we have the projected coordinate system? First of all, the coordinate system was done by Strahler after people have found it difficult to be able to calibrate the Earth properly or to take measurements on the Earth, because before now, mapping and geography of the world have become a descriptive. We can also say this place is high, this place is low, this place is forested, this place is not forested, which does not make any sense. Then it made sense because people was trying to explain the environment, but at the point people wanted more because we can't just keep saying that this place is high. How high is it? We can't keep saying that this place is far. How far is it? So people needed to have this real-time measurement. And people like A.N. Strahler, who is a statistician, say, oh, why don't we calibrate this Earth so that we can be able to take measurements or know where things are located? That was the origin of the coordinate system. We created a coordinate system. Now, people will now start finding it difficult to take measurements on the map using that geographic coordinate system because it puts into account the curved nature of the Earth. The Earth, they put into account the curved nature of the Earth when you're talking about the geographic coordinate system. You understand that the Earth is curved and everything is considered. You see the axis, you see the Greenwich meridian, you see the equator and other things. It puts into account that the world is round or globe or spherical, like we often say. But people need to be able to do things on the go, which is surveying, measuring the land, doing some offsets for engineers and also other things. And even getting a near accurate measurement without having to go through the rigorous process of using geographic coordinate system or tape. That was the invention of projected coordinate system, which is trying to take what is on the globe now to try to put it on the Earth surface. Since we are seeing the Earth as a flat surface, outside the Earth is spherical. But in the Earth where we dwell, we are working on a flat surface, right? And we need to find a way to be able to account for locations on that flat surface. So they did the projection using some couple of methods like cylindrical method, conical method, polar method, to be able to put these things on the flat surface. Today we use it as a flat surface. We don't care about how it was created. All we do is to use this particular measurement. So if you are trying to put your map, depending on what you are doing, if what you are doing involves measuring distances and other things, definitely what you are going to be looking at, how do I use 32 or projected coordinate system, which we are going to look at. So under these data frame properties, that is where you can be able to customize your file through coordinate system to be able to choose which one to use. If you are looking at this is a projected coordinate system, which is 1994 UTM zone 32 knots. While this is a geographic coordinate system, both are from the census. The WGS stands for World Geodetic System of 1984. The same thing happens to the other one, which is the projected coordinate system. Well, now when it comes to projected coordinate system, what do we normally use? We use the universal one, which is called UTM. There are other projected coordinate systems in the world. If I click on projected coordinate system, you see a lot of them. We have tribal, we have state system where we find MENA and rest of them. Nigeria is also there. We have state reference system and also have ocean system. We have national grid. National grid, if you go to Africa, you see Accra. You go to Nigeria, you see Nigeria East Belt, Nigeria Mid Belt, Nigeria West Belt. So For us to be able to convert geographic coordinate system to projected coordinate system, people had to calibrate them because of the spherical nature of the Earth. They need to calibrate them so that we can be able to account for every part of the Earth. Since they're not equal, some are closer to the polar, maybe a bit curvy, but some are, a bit wider. So we need to accommodate them. So that is why you see the grid of the Middle Belt and the rest of them, of the Middle East. So now, we also have the UTM, which is the one we normally use, which is called UTM, Universal Transverse Marcator. Here you can see Africa also, where we have other African coordinates. You see MENA, UTM 32. This is Nigeria. MENA UTM 32 is Nigeria, and it's from MENA. Then we have the UTM, the WGS 1984 here, where we have the Northern Hemisphere and the Southern Hemisphere. For Nigeria, Nigeria falls within the Northern Hemisphere and also within 32 knots. You see it here, 32 knots. So we understand them better when we go into the mapping. So those are the things you can do from your data frame, which is from the view. You can also set your grid from here. You can also do your size and positioning from here. You can also do your general setup from here, or name the layer. Then we also have the refresh. When you want to refresh your document, we also have the pause drawing, pause labeling when you are doing automatic labeling, which we don't normally do. They don't have bookmarks. So what does bookmark do? Bookmark is trying to save a particular area, just like the way you bookmark on your web page. Bookmark tries to save a particular area or a particular portion that you are working on. It tries to save it so that you can be able to go back to it to work. Or probably you have created a layout. You see the way my layout is, this is not the entire map. If I move like this, I can be able to bring in my map. But what happens when I move out of this place? Will I continue moving my map up, on and off? So what can I do? I can decide to set my map to the place where I want it to appear, and I then bookmark it. Now, this is the last bookmark I did for this work I'm doing. You see the bookmark. So whenever I click on the bookmark, it returns to this place. So if I click, even if I zoom or shift the map from the Canva, if I go back to the bookmark and click on this bookmark, it takes me back to that same place. So I don't have to be correcting everything. So from here, you can also manage your bookmark to delete or add any bookmark which you want to do. Then we'll have the insert. Here is where you can be able to do insert your frame. If you want to insert a frame, a new frame, maybe an insert map. I don't know if you have seen a map like this. Let me show something. If you have seen a map like this, it's coming. Not this one. If you have seen a map like this, I'm talking about now, like this, with two frames, I'm coming. A map like this with two frames, it's from this particular data frame. When you insert a data frame, you can decide to insert a new data frame and load everything you need so that you can have a split map in your environment. This is a function we used to do it. We'll still get to it. You can add title. If you want to add a title to your map, like we have Anambra State here, Anambra State here, and Anambra State here, Nigeria here. You can also decide to add other text which you want to add in your map. You can decide to add anything. GIS map. You can decide to add them in your text. So these are the functions you can do from insert. So it's basically for you to insert any other things you need. Now, also under this insert, you can be able to now click add your legend, which is this we are looking at, the key that shows you which is which in the map environment. Where is the river? Which symbol represents the river? Which symbol represents the boundaries and other things. So why this is active is because I'm in the layout view. If I go back to the data view, you see that most of them will be fence. So most of them are operational when you are in the layout view. We have your selection here, where you can be able to use query language to select features on the map by attributes or by location or whatever. I can decide to say, I want to select by attribute here. And I will use a query language, which we are going to learn to be able to select those attributes. Then we'll have also geoprocessing tool. This is where you do some couple of analysis. You do your buffer, your clip, your intersect, your union, your merge, your reserve. You get to know what all these things stands for. So you also have your search tool where you can be able to search some tools which you might not be able to locate off heart. So we also have the environment. This is your search. So I can say to search for something like interpolation. And the system will look for the tool and give me, or search for IDW, which is an interpolation tool. And the system will give me the IDW. So that's what the search basically does. So we also have the Arc toolbox where you have a lot of tools which you are going to be using. You also have a lot of tools which you are going to be using here. These are a lot of tools that you can be able to find in your Arc toolbox. There are a lot of them which you are going to be looking at. So when we get there, you see what the tools are. So this is the Arc toolbox, which once you click here, you'll be able to activate this if it's not in your system already. Then you have the environment. Environment is where you can be able to set your work environment. It's not all of them that you are going to use from time to time, but we get to them and we'll see how to use them. Then we also have your results, where you can be able to see result of analysis which you have done. So also, you can also do your model building or use your Python if you need to use Python to do some coding. You can use Python here to do your coding if you are using a Python. So there's a function for that. Then we have the customize, where you can be able to customize these things that I was doing earlier from right-clicking. You can right-click from here to add them, or you can go to customize toolbars and you can add them. Then we have extensions. Under this extension, this is where we use to activate some functions which we need in the GIS environment. So we use this function to activate some of them. These extensions. Without this extension active, it means that some of them is not going to run. So you can see that I've activated all my extension, my ArcScan, my geostatistical analyst, my spatial analyst tool, my SWAT, my tracking analyst, and other things. I've activated them. So without activating them here, they are not going to function. So you need to activate them so the system will understand that you want to use them. So we have other add-in manager, customize mode, style manager, arc options in case you want to customize some shortcuts and other things or layouts in your ArcGIS. There's a lot of things you can explore here, of course, like the ruler size and every other thing. You can do it here. Then you have your windows, where you can show an overview of your system, magnify, viewer, also table of content. The table of content is this, which contains every element which you are using in your mapping here, where you have your boundary. These are a table of contents. So you can use here to activate your table of contents. Then you also have your catalog, which is here. Catalog is mostly where you interact with your system or your folder to create features which you are going to be using for mapping. So they are very essential. So under this window, so we have your search, which is this search also, which we talked about. And also here we have image analysis, where you can use to analyze your satellite imageries to be able to use to make informed decisions. So these are the basic tools which you need within the GIS environment. Now also we have this drawing tool. Under this drawing tool, with this drawing tool, I can be able to add box in my map and delete if I don't need it. I can be able to rotate that box, add a box and rotate it. When I add a box, if I use this rotating function, I can be able to rotate my box to any angle which I need. Let me delete. So from here, you can also be able to add a text. You can be able to add a text, whether you want the text to be normal, regular, like this, right? Or you want your text to be curved. You can be able to say, I want to curve this text like this. So whatever I type here, it will curve. So these are the functions of this text. So you can also use it to do a call out. if you do a call out, if I do a call out, I can decide to do a call out and add you see call outs here. As I'm clicking on the call out, is adding those names of the place which I have mapped or the which I have named. So it's now left for you to now customize the call out, which we are going to explore later. So we have other things like okay, this one is label. We have other ones like call out. We have other ones like polygon, call outs. You see the way call out is, so you can use it to do a call out for your. The other one is for label. Sorry. So you can also do polygon text, round text, and other things. There's a lot of things you can do. So also when you write your text here, when you have included your text here, you can also use some of these. This you can highlight it and use some of these functions to maybe bolden the font, change the font of your write-up to whatever you like, increase the size, change the color of the text, and other things. So that's a lot of function you can find here. So we'll look at it at due time and have an understanding of what it looks like. So for now, these are the introductions of the environment within the ArcGIS, and we'll have to move to other things. Now, secondly, there is something that is very important for you to understand when you are running ArcGIS, which I'm going to show you shortly. Now, there's a pattern of saving, which is very important. The way you save your file in GIS environment is very important. Let me show you this, for instance. This is my working folder, which you can see clearly on your screen. You can see that inside this working folder, which is my local drive, because personally, if you look at my working folder, personally, I prefer to save in the hard drive, which is the C drive from your PC, which is my computer. You see your local drive, C drive. Why do I save there? Because it is somewhere that people don't often go to or look into when they're doing things. Because if you are the kind of person that give your system to people and you are into GIS, trust me, from time to time, if your files are not saved properly, you're missing a lot of files, and which is bad, very bad. So you need to understand the syntax of how to save your documents. You need to understand how to save your document in GIS environment. It's very important because it will save you a lot of stress. So how do you save your documents in GIS environment? First of all, you need to understand that GIS data comes with a lot of baggages. If I open a file now, maybe a Nigerian map, and I say this is Nigerian shapefile, which is a data for Nigeria, you see that international boundary have international boundary.cpg, international boundary.prj, international boundary.sbn. All these things are the things that comprises the shape file. So when I was talking about the vector, this is a vector file. So all these things, all these extensions are the things that make up that particular shape file or vector file. If any of these things go missing, any of these files go missing, any of this extension goes missing, the file becomes invalid. It stops functioning. So you see why it is important to understand the way you save your file and also to be careful how you save your file within the GIS environment. That is why I always advise, go to your local hard drive, create a folder. The folder name should be GIS project or whatever you want to call it, is your choice. So inside that folder now, you can now start working. But another thing about saving in the folder is that inside that folder again, for every project you are doing, make sure it is in a different folder. If I'm doing a map of Abuja, everything about Abuja is in the folder called Abuja. If I'm doing a map of Adada River, everything I need to do is within the folder called Adada River. Why do I do it this way? So that tomorrow, if you want to make reference to a file, it will be very easy for you. You might not understand the benefits of doing it until you start looking for some files which you know you have. Like for me, for instance, these days I find it very difficult to do maps. You are drawing maps. At the stage where when I started GIS, which is 13 years ago, I was so enthusiastic about drawing maps. In fact, I love drawing maps. I look forward to drawing maps. But these days, I have graduated way above drawing maps that I rarely draw maps again. It is possible that you can get to a point where every map you need is within your computer. The only thing, when somebody say that I need a map of this thing, you charge the person 10,000 or 20,000 and you go straight into the folder, make modification and send to the person within the next 10 minutes. That is what I've been doing for the past 7, 8 years. Unless for rare occasions where I have some special works that I might need to go into I might need to go into my system and start modifying or doing, a comprehensive work. Other than that, if you say you need a map of any state in Nigeria, any local government in Nigeria, it's possible I have it in my system. All I have to do is to modify it to suit your, request and send it